Hi guys, my name is Agnes. So what you are about to watch is a lead gen training that I've done for an actual company that actually hired me and my agency to do some consultation and advisory services in addition to web design, web app building, ATS systems, things like that. So it's going to focus a bit more on like foundational stuff, misconceptions, as well as what I wish I knew when I first started out. So in this video, it will be the first training, the first session that I did for them. And there will be a second session as well, which will be happening 1 week later. I will also record it and share it, and I'll create playlists so that you can follow along on this training session. That's enough from me. Let's get started. Whether as business development managers or as founders, whoever, lead gen is a skill that I personally think if you can master, you can do anything. Right? So every business will always need lead generation. Without leads, you won't have customers. Without customers, you won't have a business. Okay, so that's the very simple reason why we are all here today. So today I'm gonna go through what lead gen is to me, right? What my past years of lead gen has looked like, what I've learned. Okay, so it's like a crash course for you guys today. Okay, so for lead gen, the most important thing is you need to understand the foundations of it, how it works, because every business that you're doing lead gen for, there is no single set method that will guarantee you leads. That is one very harsh lesson that I have had to learn in the past few years. I've always been looking for like how to do lead gen for a web design and development agency, because that's what I'm doing, right? So I'm always looking for that special formula. Then one thing I realized is there's no such formula, because it depends on who you are going after. It depends on what ticket size you are going for as well, what you are selling, and what you are comfortable with also as a person. Right, so there's so many different factors. So if anyone tries to sell you like a lead gen course, lead gen whatever training, seminar and things like that, do think twice. And if you do attend, take it with a pinch of salt. Okay, it's always the foundation behind it, the why behind it. So that is something that I'm going to focus on today. Okay, and by the way, if you guys don't have your camera on, I would encourage you to keep your camera on, because it's not for me, not for you, but it's more of getting used to the idea of speaking to people, just showing your face. Okay, so that is also a very important thing. So without further ado, let's get started. But probably you have a huge question mark, like who is this person that is telling you all about lead gen, right? Is she like a master salesman or something like that? So let me just share with you a bit more about who I am and what I do. Right. So my name is Agnes. Right. I am running an agency called SAW. Right. And SAW has been around since 2021. That's basically when my first lead gen campaign happened. Okay. And it has never stopped until today, because like I said earlier, every business needs leads. Right. So this is a very important skill. I'm based in Singapore, and my agency is a remote agency. We have worked with many different industries. We have worked with international clients as well, because we work remotely, right? We deliver IT solutions to people. Okay, so we started out as a design agency, but we have really grown into just providing digital solutions. That's really the journey in the past 3 years. So, as you can see in the pictures below, I want to introduce to you 3 of the most handsome men in my life. Okay. So first of all, I'm very proud to share that we have been featured on Channel News Asia for one of the projects that we did for one of the clients, right? And as you can see in that moving GIF at the bottom left, the agency was represented by handsome man number 1, Mr. Rishikesh Sawan. Right, he's also one of the directors at our agency, SAW. All right, and handsome guy number 2 in the middle. He's actually a second-gen owner of a really sizable restaurant group here in Singapore. Right, we have done a couple of projects for them, and we are actually in the midst of discussing another one with them right now. Okay, and the third handsome man on the bottom right. So if you look at the picture on the bottom right, the guy on the left, right, in the white t-shirt, he is actually a CTO of a company in Singapore, and he's on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. Right, so he's a really good friend of mine, but full transparency, they are not a client of ours, or at least not yet. Okay? So you might be wondering now, so what? Why is this woman just bragging along here, wasting my time? Can we just move on to the lead gen part? Okay? But I just wanted to rewind for a second. So if I think back to that three photos, how did they even come about? Right? How did I even get a chance to take a photo with them? Because these people, especially the two guys, right? These are multi-millionaires. They don't just sit down for coffee with a nobody like me. Okay? So I just wanted to share, like the CNA client, the client that we were featured on Channel News Asia for, it was someone that we got on through cold emailing. Okay, so if we never did cold email, we never did outreach, we wouldn't have got the client, we would never have gotten featured on Channel News Asia. It's as simple as that. All right. And then for the middle one, oops, what did I do? Okay, sorry about that. So for the middle one, the chef, the restaurateur, right? He was actually introduced to me. So a referral from one of my cousins. Okay. And the last guy, the CTO that was on Forbes 30 under 30, the reason why he even reached out to have coffee with me was because I was creating content on LinkedIn. And I was connected with him. I had no idea I was connected with him. Right? I just accepted the connection and I just posted. And it turns out I was connected with him for over a year. I just never spoke to him. But he saw my content on LinkedIn. He reached out to me. Right? So that it was one of the like pinch me kind of moment where I understood, okay, when it comes to lead gen, there's no one set method. Okay, so keep going back to that foundation. Lead gen is a methodology. It is not a strategy that you have step 1 to step 10. All right. So I kind of reverse engineered my past experience in the last 3 years. And then this was what I found. When it comes to generating leads, right, this is a diagram that I got from a book. Right, the book is called $100 Million Leads. It's written by a very famous entrepreneur called Alex Hormozi. When it comes to lead gen, there are basically just 4 ways for you to generate leads. Okay, friends and family means people who know you through content marketing, which is just creating content. Like through cold outreach, which can be cold email, cold call, door to door, whatever it is, it's all under cold outreach. And there's also paid advertising. The only difference between these 4 is, do they know you or do they not know you? Right? So that is what the hot and cold actually means. If they know you really well, it's a hot. If they don't know you at all, it's a cold. Basically, that is all that is. And when you speak to them, is it a one-to-one conversation or is it a one-to-many conversation? Right? So essentially, that is what lead gen is. You just have to be aware whether the person knows you or not, so you can put them in the right category. So sometimes, if, like for Rishi, you might have had this experience, right? Someone introduced you to somebody else. Technically, that is a lead, right? And technically, that lead should be warm, right? Because it was from your friends and family. But for some reason, you might not close them. They might not trust you. You might be reflecting like, why? How come? It was a referral. It should be easier to close. But if we look back at this chart, if it's not warm enough, it might actually still be cold outreach. So the methodology for cold outreach is very different from friends and family. So just because it is a referral, it doesn't automatically make them friends and family. It might still be cold outreach. Okay. So this is a chart that I find very useful whenever I'm talking to someone. It changes the way I talk to them as well. What I talk about. Right. Sometimes if you're too comfortable and they're like, dude, I don't even know you, immediately you lost them. Right. Even though they might not say it, you lost them already. So that is basically a very high level of what lead gen is. Okay. So before we really get started into the nitty gritty, I would advise all of you grab a notebook, grab a pen, because it's going to be quite heavy. Like I said, there's no step by step. So even if I send you these slides and you don't understand what I'm saying, it's going to be very hard for you to apply anything that I share. Okay? Right, let's go. So the very first thing for any business that I work with, whether it's my own, whether it's with another agency, whether it's with a client, it doesn't matter. The essential must know. The essential statement. So I call this the essential. You have to remember this by heart. Okay. Otherwise, you won't be able to do lead gen. You won't be able to do marketing. You won't be able to do sales well. So the keyword here is you want to do it well. You don't want to waste your time as well, right? Doing the same things, not getting the ROI that you're hoping for. Okay. So the statement is really simple. What you do for who to achieve what. A very basic statement, but very, very important. Okay, a lot of companies can't even tell you in a simpler manner, one sentence, what they do for who to achieve what. They might tell you for everyone, or I can do a lot of things. That is how I know that they don't have a marketing involved. They don't have a good website up. It is just very basic that we need to know this, right? So in terms of what we do, we have to explain it in a very simple way, as much as possible, that even a 12-year-old can understand what we do. Right? Even Elon Musk, he runs SpaceX. The simplest way I can explain it is he builds rocket ships. Right? That's the very simple way. But as adults, we are more sophisticated. We kind of know that is not all that he does. Okay? But the key point here is we need to be able to explain it in simple ways. And then we can make it a bit more sophisticated depending on who we are talking to. Okay? And then we can go full-blown expert mode if we are talking to really expert people. Right? So we need to be aware of that. Okay, and who you do it for, right, is the group of people who are suffering from the problems that we solve. Okay, the easiest way that we can identify this is to look at our past customers. Right, who have we worked with before? What are they suffering from? What is something that is in common between all of them? So it can be the business size, it can be their industry, it can be a lot of different things. As long as you are able to really specify a group of people, that is the who, right? And lastly, to achieve what? What is the outcome that they can get, right? If your customers, the who, if it is another business, if it's not a direct individual, the achievement that they will get usually is just one of three things. I can guarantee it's one of three things. It is either they get more sales, they get more customers, or they lower their costs. Okay, that is if your who is a business. It is always one of these three things. Otherwise, it does not make sense for a business to invest in your services. All right. So this is the essential sentence. But please take note, you are free to change this sentence if the business pivots, if the business moves. Right. Most importantly, you just need to have one. Okay. All right. Now, before I continue with the rest of this presentation, I want to address something which I've also learned in the past couple of years. You cannot sell something that you don't know. Right? It goes against every human psychology law in our brains. You simply cannot convince someone of something that you yourself do not understand. Okay? This is something that I just really want to address because even until today, I will still learn about how some small businesses, they hire business development managers, they hire appointment setters, whatever it is, right? They give them a script and that is their entire lead gen strategy. Okay, so they are trying to play this volume game as if they have $1 billion to spend on lead gen. That is why small businesses die every single day. All right. So you'll be surprised at how many business development managers, right? They are not even sure about what they are selling at all. Which I do not understand how. How is that even possible? Right. And the biggest truth is that the more you know what you're selling, right? And if you are sure that you know definitely this person that I'm reaching out to will 100%, 1,000% benefit from what I'm selling, aren't you then helping them? So it becomes a very big distinction. I'm no longer trying to generate leads. I'm actually trying to let this person know that there's this thing that can transform their business. Very big differentiator. And the more you believe that you are actually helping them, the easier it is when you are selling. Very ironic, very weird, but that is what I've learned. All right. Now let's move on to the offer. Okay, so like I said earlier, right, you have to know what you're selling. So I've learned this table, very simple table. It has helped me with all my work, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, whatever it is, right? In order to know what you're selling, you just have to list them down, all the features, all the benefits, all the results. The biggest mistake that people make when they are doing their lead gen is they keep selling the features. Oh, I have this shiny car. It has the best headlights. It has this system, whatever. I don't even know what the terms are, so I picked the wrong example. But you see, yeah, I'm just saying all the wrong things. But you get what I mean, right? People are always telling you how great their product is. It's the shiniest thing, it's the strongest thing, it's the best thing in the world that you will ever have. They are always pitching to you the features of whatever they are selling. It is the most logical way to sell. Yes, I agree. Right? Why wouldn't you say that I have this box? It is the best box in the world. Do you want to buy it? It's very logical to do that, which I understand. But if you think about it, people don't want to buy things like a hammer. Why would you need a hammer in your life? It's because they want to hang up that beautiful family portrait that they have at home. That is the real reason why they want the hammer. So even if you tell me that the hammer is made from aluminium alloy that's from the satellite, whatever it is, right? It's not going to move me. I'm not going to feel anything. I'm actually going to feel like, why would I want that in my house? It doesn't make sense. So with that logic, we have the list of features, which is what we are selling. We then look at the benefits. The benefits is basically, why would someone want the feature? Okay, what do they get out of having that feature? Okay, but we are not going to stop there. We are also going to look at the results. So if they have this benefit from that feature, how is it going to change their life? How is it going to do anything for them? Why would they even want the benefits? So to me, the results is why the customer really wants it. That's the true reason. And sometimes they don't even tell you the truth. Okay. But through experience, after you have done lead gen, you will know that humans basically just want those few things. I'm sure you and I can both guess what that small list of things are. Okay. So I'm not going to go too deep into that. Let me show you an example. Who here owns an iPhone? Okay, we all might not own an iPhone, but we at least own a smartphone, right? It can be a Samsung, can be whatever brand. Okay, it doesn't have to be an iPhone. But anyone here bought the phone because of the processor chip, because of how many megapixel the camera is, or how many cameras it even has. I don't know. I believe one day your smartphone will all be filled with camera lenses. I don't know why, right? Or is it because of the shield, the ceramic shield, the titanium frame, or is it really the strong battery? Like, if you think about it, if you ask me, Agnes, what is the features of an iPhone 15? Uh, yeah, I mean, it looks nice, right? I mean, the battery lasts less than a day, but apparently it says that it is an all-day battery, right? So that is the thing. No one buys it for the features. Okay, so very important distinction that we have to remember. Even before you start lead gen, if you do not understand this, you are setting yourself up to fail when you are doing lead gen. Okay, very important thing. So unfortunately, this is what most companies do when they don't have a strong marketing team like Apple. Okay, they don't have a strong marketing team like Samsung. Obviously, most of us, we don't have the budget for that. But you think about it, honestly, that is what they do. I have this smartphone, right? It has an advanced A17 Pro chip. It has a 48 megapixel main camera, blah, 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 blah. Right? Do you want to buy one? Why not? Why not? They start asking you as if you're an idiot. Why wouldn't you want to buy one? But they forget that people don't buy things for the features. It's usually not the features. It never will be the features. Right? So the next thing that what most companies will do, or some companies I would say, they might phrase it in a different way. Are you looking for a smartphone that can perform faster and has smoother multitasking? Right. Or it can capture really detailed high quality photos. It can, it is really durable to damage and all of those things. Right. So our smartphone, let me introduce it to you. It's this all new technology, it has this A17 Pro chip, it has this other thing. Right. Do you want to buy one? Slightly better than the first example, right? Like you can immediately feel this transformation. And this is what most small agencies and freelancers do. But immediately you already see a huge improvement. But honestly, you can do a lot better. Right. So let me give you an example for the last one. Okay. Imagine this. A proud father witnessing his baby princess, little girl, taking her first step. So he uses our smartphone to capture this incredible moment. With our 48 megapixel main camera, he can store all of these details of this precious memory forever in his cloud server. Do you want to capture all your memories in your life? Buy our smartphone today. How many of you want to buy my smartphone now? Yeah. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, so I know my pitch is not perfect, right? I just spit something out, but you can immediately see a difference, right? So when you know what your leads, what your customers truly want, which is the end results, your entire conversations becomes about them. It becomes what they want. It's not even about you and what you are selling anymore. You don't care about the phone. You care about them capturing the precious memories in their life. Right? Very small difference, but you can see how this very simple table can immediately change the way you sell, the way you convince, the way you do any form of marketing even. It becomes helping them. It's no longer about you. So I hope that everyone is on the same page. Don't worry too much about copying anything down. Okay, I will definitely send you guys all these slides. Like I said, the important part is not in the answers here. It's all right here. Right. When you are speaking to people, you're doing lead gen, you won't have this side by side with your laptop at all times. It is not possible. But if you understand the concept of what I'm saying, you can twist things around. And it depends on what they want. You can pick the right results and start the conversation with them. That is the master level of lead gen, which I believe everyone can reach. Okay. Okay, now for the main event. Again, this offer, right, can change. Okay, it definitely depends on what you are selling. If we change the package, benefits change, results change. Or sometimes through your conversation with people, you will realize that they care about different things. You might want to change the benefits, you might want to change the results. It really depends. So nothing here is set in stone. Right. So the main meat of everything, right? Everyone, if you need your glasses, please put on your glasses. If you need contact lens, it's too late. I will not wait for you. Right now for the main event, how are we exactly going to generate leads with all the information that we had? Okay. First, you need to understand a very simple concept: the who. Right. If you are going fishing, you are going to catch fish. You're not gonna catch a dog. Right? It doesn't make sense. So you need to know exactly who you are trying to so-called catch. And there are three terms that I learned over time. Okay. Last time when I was learning marketing, like I took some courses and things like that, you will always hear target customer, target persona, target audience. Right? They keep talking about target something, target something, target something. But I realized the only thing that is important when it comes to sales is these three different people. First is ICP. ICP stands for Ideal Customer Profile. In simple terms, what ICP is, it is the business. It is not the founder. It is not the manager that you're speaking to, it is not their staff. It is the business profile. Okay, so in this case, it can be business attributes. For example, how much they make per year. It can be where they are located, how many outlets they have, so on and so forth, right? The conditions really depend on who you are trying to find. Okay, but most importantly, you need to know what ICP is, because it's the first layer to help you identify the best fit customers. If you find the wrong ICP, you will get the wrong target customer. Okay, so we have the ICP at the top. Target customer is basically the final decision maker, the one who signs all the checks. That is the target customer. So in most small businesses, it is the founder, right? But do not underestimate every single small business, because Vichy and I, we have encountered clients who just started up their business. They have a COO, they have a CEO, and they have a CFO. We don't know why, we don't know how, but it is not our job to figure out why. I'm just sharing with you. Don't assume that it is always one founder who signs off all the checks. That is not true. Okay. And then for influencer, I'm not talking about the pretty girls on Instagram that you see, right? Those are influencer. Influencer in terms of lead gen, these are people who influence the target customer to buy or not buy something. Very simple example, we have a kid who's trying to get into college. He might tell his father, I want to sign up for this course where this person will work with me to practice for my Ivy League interview. Right? This person is a Harvard alumni. Right? It costs $50,000. Yes, that is very expensive. I get it. But do you want me to get into Harvard or not? That is an influencer. He's not the one paying it. But if you were the father, would you sign off on that $50,000 transaction? Right? If you want your son to get into Harvard, I probably would. Right? So that is an example of an influencer. So when it comes to B2B, obviously the son might not work in the company, but when it comes to, for example, for Saw, right? I might be the target customer. I might be the one who's signing off the checks for every purchase. But Rishi is my director. If he tells me that we need this thing so that it will help our sales process, he is a very big influence over me, right? Or he might tell me that you should never buy this thing. I will never buy it also. Right? So he has a huge influence over me. So when it comes to lead gen, it will be very beneficial if you know all three. Who are they when it comes to the person that you are reaching out? The conversation is very different. Okay, so this is the first thing that you guys have to first understand. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say you are doing lead gen for a commercial interior design company. Your ICP might be businesses who have an office. Obviously, if you want to do commercial interior design, you need an office, right? But maybe you have certain conditions. You find that working with a company with too small of an office is too difficult because they don't really care about how it looks like. So you might say, okay, I need them to have at least 50 employees in an office. But again, there's an upper limit. You might be like, okay, if one day a huge bank comes to me, ask me to do commercial interior design for their entire commercial building, which costs billions of dollars, am I able to do that? No. Because I don't have the capacity, I don't have that experience, I don't dare to take on that project. So I might set a limit, okay, 50 to 200 employees. Based on my experience, I can handle this range. So you might say, okay, my ICP needs to have 50 to 200 employees. Okay, and they need to be banks because I'm a specialist for banks, commercial interior design, and they might have to make $5 million to $10 million in annual revenue. Right. So all of these are business attributes. So when you're doing lead gen, now you know, if you see a company, oh, this is a bank, don't immediately jump into it. Don't waste your time. You first have to go and find out, do they even have an office? Oh no, this is a digital bank. Well, then let's not waste our time doing lead gen for that bank. Right? And then you go through the other criteria that you have set for your ICP. Same thing. Okay. So once you have found your ICP, then you can go and find who are the people in that company? Oh, then I see that they have founders, they have CEOs, they have MDs, they have COOs. So they have a full C-suite. But based on your experience, you might be like, okay, usually the one who signs off is the CEO and the MD. And usually they are the same as the founder, like they are also the founder. Right? So from experience, you will find that the answer becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. But since we are doing it new, we can still make best guesses. We can still ask around to kind of clarify and make the best guess that you can. And through experience, you can always modify. Okay? And then you might also ask yourself who is a big influence on them. Okay, so my best guess is probably the COO. Because the COO might be like, okay, if we design the interior of our office, our people will be more productive because that's their KPI. A COO cares about operations, right? So a COO might be a great influence. Or it might be a HR director because they care about employee satisfaction. Or if we design it properly, we have a lounge for people to rest. We have found that, people become more productive. Right? So a HR director might also be your influencer. And last but not least, my best guess is a sales director. Or because we have clients, we have partners who visit our office premises sometimes. What if we can design it in a way that impresses them so they know that we are not here to play? Right? So I just made a guess. These three are probably influencers. So as you can see from this list, right, you know the company to go after. You can guess who is the final person to sign off. You can also find people who can actually help you convince the person to sign off, which is the influencer. So when it comes to lead list, right, it is not just founder, 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 founder. Okay, that is a very big misconception. A lot of the times, the influencers sell for us and they connect us with the target customer, which makes our job so much easier. Okay, so don't underestimate these three different things. Okay, now that we know who we are going after, the next question is obviously where can we find them? Okay, even if you go fishing, not every river, pond, ocean, you can just throw your hook in it and pray to God that something bites. Okay, it doesn't work that way. The best and most expert fishermen know where the fish go. All right, so now what we have to do, right, is we have to dissect their usual journey. So what I mean by journey is, like for example, in our case, we are solving the problem of lack of talent, right? That is the problem that they have. What will they do to attempt to solve that problem? That is the journey that we need to understand. Okay, so the first step that we have to do is to list down all the problems that they have, right? So the problems that they have is we can go back to the essential statement, the very first thing that I shared with you guys, that statement. Look at the achievement part and reverse that because that is something that they don't have and we want to help them get there, right? So obviously that is the problems that they have. The second thing is you can do is look at the features, benefits, results table, reverse the results. Again, it might sound obvious, right? These are results that we can bring to them. So we find people who don't have those results. Okay, so once we have the list of problems, we then ask ourselves, where would they go if they want to try to solve this problem? What would they do if they want to try to solve this problem? So we're just trying to put ourselves in their shoes. If we run a business, we have all of these issues. What can we do? What would we do? Okay. So for the example for their problems, I see that these are the reverse of all the results that we can get them. Okay. They have issues growing their team. They're trying to save money, right? They are trying to hire, but they find it very expensive. They have no access or slow access to high quality talent. They find it very stressful, very stressful because they have never done it and they have a million other things that they have to do, right? And they are also really worried about low outputs. Okay, so these are the problems that they have. So I just reverse engineer. Okay, if I were them, what would I do? to even attempt to solve any one of these problems, what would I do? The first thing I would do is probably to post listings on LinkedIn and major platforms to hire someone, to even try and find talent, because that is all I know, right? And because I'm trying to save money, because I think that hiring is expensive, I probably would do it myself. So it's going to be very DIY. Okay? And then another sign that I probably find it very stressful and very difficult to hire someone is when my job listings has been up for a while. Otherwise, it would have been down, right? If you hired someone and it's easy for you to find someone that's good, right? Otherwise, I would just be waiting for a fish to bite. Okay. And the last thing is that it's probably posted by someone who is not in HR because they probably do not have a HR team. Otherwise, why would it be stressful for them? Make sense? Okay. So these are the signals that they have all of these problems. Okay. So in terms of lead gen, if you are thinking, where should I even go to start finding all of these people? This is where I would go. I will go to LinkedIn. I will go to major hiring platforms because that is all they would know, right? I would see who posted the jobs, right? If you can see the person who posted the job, it will help you even more because you can see, is this a HR manager or not? Okay, so you know how some people, when they are applying for jobs in their CV or cover letter, they always say, "Dear hiring manager," and I always say that is the biggest mistake you can do. You are assuming that everyone has a HR. Okay, so let's not make that same assumption as well. Okay, try to go and find out who is the one who posted this. I understand sometimes the platform might not have all the information, which is still okay. It doesn't automatically mean that we cannot approach them. We can, but we probably might want to do some research on other areas, on other profiles, other pages, somewhere else. Okay. And if the jobs has like the dates, like on LinkedIn, I know it has the date, but not every platform has the date. Again, same thing. Try and do some digging. Go to another major platform. Find the same listing. You can probably find it because they probably post it on multiple platforms. Okay. So that is basically how you reverse engineer. You find the signals and that is your pawn. That is where you're going to go and to find who, to talk about what, everything we have covered already. Okay, so for today's session, I'm going to stop here. Okay, the reason is because everything that I've shared is very foundational. Okay, I might have so-called given you an answer to start off from, but if you don't understand the basic concept of why those are my answers, why I even do all of these things, it's very hard for you when you are having the conversation with them. Because what is the point, right? If I teach you how to fish and you bait the fish, but when the fish comes up, it slips out of your hand, it goes back into the pot. You have to restart the entire process all over again. Right. So I don't want to cram everything into one session, so I'm just gonna stop here because I'm very sure this is a lot for anyone to digest. Okay. So does anyone have any questions? Just ask, right? No matter how silly you think the question is, it's okay. Okay, we are here to answer your questions. Anyone has any questions? Okay, so I assume it's clear enough for everyone. Okay, so I think it's okay if no one has any questions so far because I'm a pretty good presenter. So I would take that as a compliment if no one has questions. But I can guarantee you when you are starting to do it, the questions will come. Okay, so don't feel stressed to give me a question because you are kind to me. Okay. So here is what you guys have to do. So what so-called homework is, right, for all of you, is to start building up the list of people. Okay, because you know where to find them, you know what signals they have to show that they are a lead, a possible lead. You know who you are looking for, you know how to qualify whether you should even waste time on this person or not. Right? We know all of these things already, and we also know what exactly we are selling, the features, results, and the benefits results, right? So what you guys have to do, right? Build up your list of prospects. Okay. I would suggest using Google Sheet because if at any time you guys need to collaborate, you can share the documents. that is my own personal preference, right? But otherwise, you want to use Excel, you want to use, if you are what they call traditional or romantic, you can use a notebook, but good luck to you. Okay, I'm not going to stop you. Build the columns in a way where you have the name of the business at the start, roughly what they do, digital marketing, media, automotive, whatever it is, just have a very simple way to identify them. Okay. If you can also find out how much they make, this is going to be a challenge, right? But if at any time you have difficulty finding any information, right, don't spend too much time on that cell. What am I going to put in this cell? Should I just put a fake number? No, please do not just put $1, 10 million, or whatever it is. Okay, it is okay to leave it as blank because I understand not everything can be found online. Okay, just do some digging, spend 5-10 minutes. Cannot find? Move on. Don't waste any more time because it's very easy for you to waste 2 hours on one column. Okay, I don't want that to happen to anyone. Okay, I learned that through the hard way. And then have another column for the number of employees that they might have. Okay, usually you can find them on LinkedIn, the company profile, right? So far, LinkedIn is the only one that really gives me that information. Sometimes, very rarely, they might put it on their website. Right, depends on the about page or contact page somewhere there. Right, and if they, in a very rare case, have funding, you might be able to find the funding information, like an investor has invested in them. Right. In that case, you will know how much they make, you will know what's the size of the company, you will know a lot of details because those must be public information in Singapore. Okay, but that's very rare because like SMEs in Singapore generally don't have funding in that size. Okay, but just putting it out there just in case. Okay, so once you have all that information, you have the information of the ICPs already, right? So those are the first few columns. Next, then you can go and find who is the founder, who is the CEO, do they have a C-suite? Just make a very best guess that you can absolutely make, because there's no way for you to confirm anything until you have at least 100, 500, 1,000. And through the process, you will be like, oh, I have a feeling that this will not work. I have a feeling that this is not clear. I have a feeling that this one will not reply me. You will start to have all that feelings coming in. Because it's all about gut feeling, right? When you're reaching out to people. But without data, without patterns, without experience, no one can tell you what that is. Okay? So right now, I understand that this looks like a lot of information for you to get, which I totally understand. But it is because we are just starting out. Okay? As we go, especially 6 months later, a year later, you probably have lesser and lesser. Right? But it really depends. So I would suggest starting with this, build that list. Right? Even if it takes you hours a day, and honestly, it takes you hours. Like I used to do at least 4 hours a day. At least. And on weekends, I'm doing it for almost 8 hours a day. Right? That was at the start. Right? Because at the start, you don't know a lot of things. So you have to kind of spend more time in order to exchange, right? Because of your lack of experience, you have to exchange more time. Okay? So I would say don't overthink. Right? My biggest mistake was overthinking, and I don't want you guys to make the same mistake. If you have the data, plug it in. Don't have, research 5-10 minutes. Set a timer if you have to, it doesn't matter. Right? Plug it in, move on with your life. Move on with the rest. Okay? And then we move on from there. And then get your hands dirty into building the list of prospects first. Right? This is the most important part. If this list is low quality, is poorly done, or you half-heartedly do this, when you reach out to them, most of them are going to go into the trash can anyways. Okay, so at the start, very important. Try your best, get your hands dirty, then you have a list of questions for me. Right? Write them down. What is very important for me, right, is speed of doing. It's not even how well you do, because I believe with speed of doing, you will get well at anything that you do. That is all from me. Thank you so much, everyone.